Good afternoon, Cubes of the Cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here. Welcome to Savage Saturday, episode 161. And today we're going to do the second part of a story I started 2 weeks ago, The Origin and Call of Atlantis. Now, I broke it up with a Dark Horse color story, which was an offshoot, which I thought was just a fun break in the middle of a bunch of black and white tales. Just something fresh. We are back to Cull this week, and as we left Cull, the last time we visited him, we saw his birth, we saw him as an infant be carried away by tigers, and we saw his sister be taken away with a shaman. To protect their lives, the shaman can only carry one away at a time. When he took Cull's sister away, the tigers took away Cull, and he could not get back in time to get him, but they were being hunted by the king, who was crazy. He didn't think, he was told he wasn't going to have any heirs, and that one of the newborn children on that moon would become the new ruler of that village, and he was not having it, and he ordered all children to be executed that were born on that moon, thus fearing the oracle and that the shaman had seen. So we begin this one after Cull had been taken away from the tigers. Now some time has passed, and Cull is a young boy, and his sister, of course, the same age as him, a young woman. And we will start our tale. First, we got a beautiful cover by Joe Jesco. This tale takes place in issue 191 of the Savage Sword of Conan. It is written by Roy Thomas. We have art by E.R. Cruz in this tale, and it's a fun little story, but we're going to get right into it. Now, we'll do the little stuff beforehand. And it says, in the pre-cataclysmic age, many centuries before the time of Conan the Cimmerian, a warrior equally fearsome was born upon a small continent which lay between the Pictus Islands and the Thurian mainland, Robert E. Howard's Cull of Atlantis. Now, as our descriptive text is here, but first we're going to tell you the title of this tale, which is Death and Life in Tiger Valley, Part 2. And as it begins, little is known of the pre-cataclysmic age, except the latter part, and that is veiled in the mist of legendary. And we see Cull pouncing through the forest with a tiger by his side, and then we see on the other half of the page Cull's sister sparring with the shaman. And it says, in primitive Atlantis, warriors and women alike whisper the fleeting shadow of a man-child, glimpsed from afar at times in Tiger Valley, where the straight people hold undisputed sway. While in a cavern not far from the village of the Sea Mountain tribe, a wizened man of middle years spars rigorously with a girl no older and no younger than the fabled Tiger Boy. The stroked one is young, less than half the age of the manling adopted by his parents 5 winters ago. But tiger cubs grow more quickly than human ones, and so this pair stalk together tonight, half in play, more than half in earnest. When they spy the great horn, and that's a buffalo, however, all thoughts of games and gamboling vanish on the instant into the forest fastness. For the huge beast upon the river's bank is the deadliest prey known to the people of the stripes, save for one. And we see the tiger splitting off from the child Cull, and it says, without a sound, the tiger moves off to approach the buffalo from a different direction. Or perhaps he sensed that his companion's movements would be less stealthy than his own. And then you see the buffalo notice Cull, he hears him. It says the great horn sniffs a nearby human before it sees him. Then it spies him as well. And you see the buffalo bellow out, and it's racing at Cull. And you see Cull raise his arms in alarm, and says, and the manling freezes in startled fear. So there's the beginning of our tale right there. Again, part 2. Part 1 was a couple weeks ago. You can go catch up there if you have not seen it. Again, the whole point of these is to keep these old black and white stories alive, and just stories that people may not have a chance to see or read. Alright, so as we turn the panel, we're not with Cull right now. We're with his sister and the shaman. And she's saying, today is the day I beat you, Ramos. He says, I'm a shaman, little Irena, not a warlord. But I've still a trick or two to teach to a girl of less than 6 summers. And keep your voice low, child, lest Chief Badar hear, and have us both flayed alive. He goes, you merely for being born, I for hiding you from him all these years. he says, would you like to be as dead as your twin whom I had to leave in Tiger Valley the night of your birth? And he says, no, I didn't think so, but at least I saved one of you, that the prophecy may be fulfilled about you growing up to rule the mainland. Ha, keep your guard up, girl. And as they're sparring, and he breaks her guard, he says, of course, perhaps it was your sibling who was destined to rulership. If so, the joke is on him or her. Are you listening to me, Irena? And she goes, why should I? I've heard it all 100 times before, as she's fighting back. She goes, and it's all I who will one day lord it over the 7 kingdoms. It's I. And he says, but bless me, child, if I don't believe it is. As she is breaking his guard and putting him on the precipice of defeat. As we go to the next page, we see young Cull running from the bull. And it says, the buffalo. And it says, the man-child's legs take over from his drumstick mind. And he runs from his dumbstruck mind. But the thick trees are too far away, and the beast's long legs eat up the yawning distance between them. And even before the fleeing pink form falls painfully to the forest floor, those thunderous hoofs, those murderously thick and pointed horns, would leave their deathsome mark upon the cub before he could rise, if not for his brother. And then you see the tiger leap out of a tree onto the back of the buffalo, claws out, and it says, his ankle badly sprained, the manling snarls his encouragement to his striped companion, as a half-grown tiger hangs on for dear life to the broad back of the flailing, bellowing great horn. So, 2 different fights going on, 2 different regions. Cull for his life against the buffalo, but he has a striped brother, the tiger, there with him. And we have Irena, his sister, learning how to fight from Ramos, the shaman, so she can one day rule when Badar is gone. So a lot going on for a tiny tale. As we turn the page, we're back to Irena, and she says, how dare you say it was my dead twin who was meant by your stupid prophecy? How dare you? Ramos says, I didn't say it was, Irena, only that it might have been. I was only trying to make you mad. And, it's worked. And he goes, that I might remind you what carelessness can do to a warrior, male or female. And he trips her up and puts her on her backside. He goes, well, child, have you learned enough for one night? And she goes, in truth, Ramos, I think I have. As she trips him up and knocks him to the ground. She goes, ha, but the first time you've had trouble from tigers, is it, old man? And he's just sitting there lying down, holding his head like, oh. And as we get back to Cull, it says, another season's hunting and the man-cub striped savior would have gained the skill and power to break his prey's neck with a single blow. But the young tiger lacks experience. His grip upon the maddened great horn slips for a fateful instant. And that is more than enough. And the bull throws the tiger and is gashing it with its horns. And the tiger is killed by the buffalo, with poor Cull watching on as his striped brother is murdered. So, one of them having a tougher time of it than the others, I would say. But great art. As we turn the page, we're back with Irena and Ramos, and it says, die, evil man, die. He goes, and he gasps and he says, stop it, Irena. Well, what are you trying to do? Kill me? She goes, haha, I was just pretending you were Badar, chief of the Sea Mountain tribe. You said I should hate him. He goes, you'll get your chance at him one day, child. She goes, good. Now can we study the magic again? He sighs and he says, sometimes I wonder if it is a good idea, this rearing you in secret, but at least no one is likely to follow a shaman to his hidden place. And as they're open and they're looking through books, he goes, these are books, Irena. Can you say that word? And she says, books. He goes, we make no such things here in savage Atlantis, of course. But I've been to the mainland in my day. Oh yes, even to Volusia, city of wonders, and I brought these back. And she says, tell me again about the tiger spell. He says, fewer orders, girl. You're not sitting on a throne just yet. He goes, now, this spell tells how to form a bond with Jakari, the tiger god. And she says, yes. And then we switch back to the story with Cull in the bull. It says, if the nigh hairless creature crouched defiantly upon a thick root is any less a tiger than one which sprawls dead between it and the great horn, It has long since forgotten the fact. It knows only that the sharp-pronged devil has slain its brother, and blood now calls for blood. And Kull leaps at the buffalo, says, how it will kill the great horn or even hang on, it knows not nor cares. And the one-sided battle could have been but one inevitable outcome, save for the timely intervention of intruders. And we see a bunch of spears go into the buffalo, slaying it as Kull is hanging on to one of its horns. And it says, well, Kuvar, Korna, it seems our spears have brought the buffalo down. And it says, yes, Gontaf, and these are some boys that are arriving. He goes, well, what in Valka's name was that boy doing riding his horns? So we're getting Kull is being found out by these young warriors and hunters. And his sister Irena is starting to learn a little bit of magic. About to do a spell. So we go back to Irena and Ramos on the next page. It says, why won't you teach me the tiger spell, Ramos? He goes, plenty of time for that when you are older, child. He goes, meanwhile, would you like some of this hot tiger's milk? And she says, yes. Oh, yes. I love tigers. He goes, I should never have guessed, as she's guzzling the milk down. He says, now stay here, and yes, you may play with this tiger skin you love as if it were your own, for I must return to the village of the Sea Mountain tribe. And as he's walking, he hears, Ramos, Ramos. And Ramos comes across the hunting party of boys. He says, Amra and little Srita, what's happened to make you two even more excited than usual, eh? And the child say, it's Gontaf's hunting party, Ramos. They brought back the tiger boy whom others have seen before. And on the next page, you see Ramos go, oh, come now, children. Surely those are just stories made up to frighten you when told around the village fire in the dark of the moon. And they said, you think so? Come with us. So these children, who are the sons and daughters of the hunting party, are taking him there. And he says, you see, there he is. And Ramos says, great Valka, because he knows who it is. He goes, we found him in Tiger Valley, Shaman, and he's locked up in a wooden cage. And says, but in Budar's absence, I'm not sure what we should do with him. And he says, Tiger Valley. And one of the adults says, I say we kill him. What mother would raise such a wild thing as her own? He goes, no mother of Atlantis need try, Kuvar, for I shall rear him. And then it says, next, portrait of a young Atlantean, leaving us to wonder what's next for Irena, Kull's sister, and for Kull himself, as this part 2 draws to an end, leaving that a mystery for our next installment. So, fun little tale. We're seeing the beginnings of Kull, and we just saw his brother, his striped brother, die, killed by a buffalo. Hunting party came and killed the buffalo. Now Kull's captured and in this camp, and Ramos saw that the child that he left behind did not die, and now he's got to try to raise that one in secret as well as the other. So we got a lot going on. What's going to happen? Tune in next week to find out. But right now, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate any time you spend on the channel. And until next time, keep it casual.